It was a quiet Wednesday afternoon in my bike shop in Boise, Idaho, in the summer of 2024, when my world got turned upside down. I'm Ethan Caldwell, just a guy trying to keep my small business afloat and my Airbnb cabin booked to make ends meet. The cabin's my lifeline. 70% of my income comes from those rentals. Without them, I'd be scraping by, maybe even selling my old pickup truck. I was live streaming a bike repair, chatting with my modest online audience, when Sarah Mitchell, the HOA president, stormed in like she was auditioning for a reality TV show. Her sandals slapped the floor, a clipboard gripped like a weapon, and her face screamed drama. Her t-shirt read, "HOA boss, it's a lifestyle, not a job." I kid you not. My chat exploded with Karen alert emojis, and I braced myself for trouble. HOA folks don't show up unless they're about to make your life harder or your wallet lighter. Sarah didn't waste time. "Ethan, I need your cabin now. It's an emergency," she said, voice loud enough to drown out my shop's radio. Outside, a minivan idled, and inside it, a woman carrying two kids looked shaken, like they'd just escaped a disaster. My first instinct was empathy. Nobody wants to see a family in distress. But then Sarah launched into her pitch. "This is my sister's family, Claire and her kids. Their business in Warsaw, Poland, collapsed. They've lost everything, Ethan. They need a safe place while Michael, her husband, sorts out legal stuff overseas." My livestream viewers were already debating Polish geography, but something felt off. Sarah kept saying Warsaw instead of Warszawa, the proper pronunciation, and when Claire stepped into the shop, she quietly corrected it with a flawless Polish accent. Her hands trembled as she fiddled with her phone, closing apps whenever I got close enough to glimpse the screen. I explained that my cabin was booked solid families with deposits, vacation plans, the works. Canceling wasn't an option, it'd tank my business. Sarah's face twisted like I'd just kicked a puppy. "What's more important, Ethan? Money or people's lives?" she snapped, hands flailing like she was directing traffic. Claire, though, looked terrified, not homeless scared, but like someone was watching her every move. Then I noticed her luggage, pristine Gucci bags, worth more than my monthly rent. My chat went wild, pointing out the same thing. What kind of broke refugee travels with designer gear? When I mentioned it, Sarah brushed it off. "Those were gifts from better days," she said. But Claire wouldn't meet my eyes, her fingers glued to her phone, checking it every 30 seconds. The situation screamed rehearsal, like a play where everyone knew their lines except me. Sarah went on about community values. Claire chimed in with perfectly timed sobs. But Michael, the supposed businessman in crisis, was conveniently absent. "He's handling immigration paperwork," Claire said, but that didn't add up. If this was just a financial hiccup, why immigration issues? My viewers were calling out the inconsistencies, and I felt like the only one questioning the script. By the end of the day, Sarah was posting online about supporting the Warsaw family, and my phone blew up with neighbors calling me heartless. But something else bugged me. Claire paid $50 cash for coffee next door with crisp hundreds, then told neighbors she was scraping by on her last $20. The math wasn't matching. That night, walking my dog, I saw Claire frantically deleting messages on her phone. In the coffee shop window's reflection, I caught a glimpse of her screen, a contact labeled Control Hub. Not Michael or lawyer. My gut screamed trouble. 3 days later, at the community barbecue, Michael finally showed up, stepping out of a sleek black sedan like he'd walked off a fashion shoot. Designer jeans, a $400 haircut, and an aura that screamed, "I'm not broke." He hugged Claire with Oscar-worthy emotion, speaking Polish to the kids, then addressed the crowd in perfect English, thanking them for their American kindness. Neighbors wept, offered casseroles, and clapped like he was a war hero. Meanwhile, I'm sipping my beer, wondering why a guy rationing his last $20 tips $50 at the coffee shop. Sarah went full dictator mode, emailing me about urgent humanitarian crises and filing HOA violations for nonsense like my fence being 0.3 inches too tall. She organized prayer vigils in my yard, complete with signs about community compassion. Michael's story grew wilder. A Warsaw police investigation froze his IT firm's assets due to a rival's fraud. He showed Google-translated documents mentioning Warsaw Judicial Court Place, which sounded like a bad AI wrote it. Neighbors ate it up, But my business took a hit. Airbnb bookings canceled after neighbors called my guests, painting me as a monster who hated refugees. I started doubting myself. Was I the bad guy? Then my old army buddy, Jake Turner, dropped by. We served together in Iraq, where I earned the nickname Gear for fixing bikes in the desert. Jake, now in Homeland Security, listened to my venting about Michael's sketchy behavior, photographing power lines, cell towers, and internet boxes, calling it American engineering admiration. Jake's eyes narrowed. Eastern European cybercrime rings are federal territory, he said casually, but his tone was serious. Document everything, Gear. Photos, recordings, emails. Trust your instincts, they kept us alive overseas. He gave me his card with a private number. Call if it gets really weird. It got weird. One night, walking my dog, I overheard Michael on the phone, speaking Russian not Polish about network vulnerabilities and infrastructure protocols. When he saw me, he switched to English, babbling about Warsaw's weather. Claire watched from the van, looking like she'd seen a ghost. The next morning, $200 cash appeared in my mailbox with a note in Claire's handwriting. I'm sorry. My suspicions hit overdrive. By week 5, Boise was a war zone, and I was the enemy. At the grocery store, Sarah ambushed me in the produce aisle, filming me with 20 neighbors in tow. There he is, she announced. The man who puts profit over people. I snapped back. Those kids have better gear than my customers' Gucci bags and iPhones. If they're refugees, I'm the president. The crowd gasped, phones recorded, and Claire, standing at the edge, looked guilty, not angry. My neighbors split. 80% backed Michael, boycotting my shop. A few, like Mrs. Larson, a World War II survivor, whispered support. Those kids have better teeth than my grandkids, she said. They don't act like refugees. Claire's mask cracked one night outside my shop. I overheard her on the phone. Michael, I can't keep lying. These are good people, and we're ruining them. She sounded desperate, scared. I know what you said would happen, but this isn't right. She hung up when she saw my lights. Jake, meanwhile, was digging. He found Michael's family emergency scam in Oregon, Colorado, and Montana, always near power grids or internet hubs, followed by mysterious outages. My cabin's high-speed fiber made it a perfect command center for a cyber attack planned for election night, 2024. Jake made me a confidential informant, handing me spy gear, a pen microphone, a phone case camera, wireless transmitters disguised as household items. The weight of it hit hard. One wrong move, and I could be collateral damage. Jake revealed Michael was wanted by Interpol for ransomware attacks on European hospitals, killing patients when systems failed. His family was a front. Claire was a logistics coordinator. The kids hired actors. Sarah, oblivious, planned an HOA vote to force me to surrender my cabin, inviting local media for her compassion over greed story. The meeting was a circus. 50 neighbors packed the community center, Sarah wielding a gavel like a scepter, her flag pin gleaming. The vote was 95% against me. Michael's speech about American generosity sparked tears and a standing ovation. Then he slipped, talking to his lawyers, actually hackers, about digital penetration protocols and grid access confirmed. My pen mic caught every word. As I stood to fake surrender, black SUVs surrounded the building. Helicopter rotors roared, spotlights flooded the room, and DHS agents stormed in. Michael's refugee act vanished. He yelled, "How did they find us?" as agents tackled him. Their legal briefcases held hacking gear, not paperwork. Agent Carter addressed the stunned crowd. "Michael Varek, you're under arrest for cyber terrorism." Claire confessed, sobbing, about threats to her real family. Sarah, handcuffed for obstruction, screamed about HOA rules. The news crew pivoted from community triumph to terrorism bust. My neighbors' faces shifted from disdain to shame. I wasn't the villain, I'd save them. The aftermath was chaos. Michael got life without parole. His associates, 25 years. Claire, 3 years with witness protection. Sarah got 2 years for falsifying HOA records, still trying to run prison like an HOA meeting. My cabin, now Liberty Haven, booked solid for 2 years. My shop became Terror Stopper Cycles, drawing crowds. I spoke at security conferences, my recordings key to dismantling Michael's 12-cell network. 2 cells escaped, though, leaving me sleepless, knowing they might target me. 6 months later, Sarah's prison letter admitted her ego blinded her to Michael's lies. Boise's HOA now requires strict background checks. My shop's a hub for teaching kids bike repair and critical thinking, dubbed Trust Verify Academy. Jake, grinning, recently showed up with new case files. Ready to hunt more cells, gear? He asked. I didn't hesitate. Let's roll. What would you do if your neighbors turned on you for questioning a sob story? Would you trust your gut or cave to pressure? Could you spot a terrorist hiding behind a perfect tale? Drop a comment, hit like, and subscribe for more stories that'll make you question everything.